All right, I told you had 2 videos coming out today. Very unique for us, but there was too much good Charger stuff. I wanted to talk about it. You brought in DJ Chark for a visit. That was the first video that I did. So if you want to hear my thoughts on DJ Chark, I got to watch him as a Lions fan for a year. Then go ahead and check that out. And that's a good segue into what we are here on this channel. We are Lions fans. We make no ifs, ands, or buts about that, but we also like the Chargers. We just do. And when Jim Harbaugh, after winning a national championship for my favorite college football team, the Michigan Wolverines, went to LA and wanted to coach the Chargers, I said, I am following him. And me and Chris both agreed. It's time to take a channel to LA from the Fresh Coast in Michigan to the West Coast in California. So that's what we did. And in this video, I want to talk to you about Joe Hortiz, and he had some very interesting things to say. Now, this is GM's lying season. I understand that, and this is the season for GMs to get anything and everything that they can, but he said some very unique things. They were talking about their wanting to trade away the number 5 pick in a fair trade. And he basically said, yeah, that's not going to happen. The direction of this team is pretty clear. Here, and I'm going to give you a few quotes. First, he said there's certainly, if it's too good of a deal because of what you're getting back, they have to make it attractive for us to move away from those players. The whole, it's a fair trade, it's a wash. I don't think that's a trade that we're interested in, Hortiz said. He flat out said it. He said, if we're going to trade away from great players, there has to be reason in terms of value for us. Certainly, there are going to be more great players in the draft, but it has to make sense to you, and it has to make sense to the team that is wanting to come up. All right, he goes on to talk about what this means. He said, and Joe, are you watching our channel? Because I talked about this like a month ago, and I made the argument that the Chargers have the first pick in the NFL draft because there is a very real world where the first 4 picks in the NFL draft are quarterbacks. There's a real world. I put the chance at like 15%. It's not a heavy chance, but there is a possibility that happens. There's also a possibility that the Cardinals like somebody more than Marvin Harrison Jr. There's the possibility. But I think it's a better possibility that the Vikings trade into that spot, or the Giants trade into that spot, or that Broncos trade into that spot to get their QB of the future. I think that's a heavily traded for spot. Somebody could trade there to get Marvin Harrison Jr. too. But here's what he said. He said something very similar to me. He said, we believe we have the first pick in the draft. I know there are going to be 4 picks that go before us, but we believe that if 4 quarterbacks go, we believe strongly that we have the first pick in the draft, Hortiz says. What are teams willing to give us? Obviously, we know it's the 5th pick, and people are going to be trading on that scope. It's got to be good value for us. Does it have to be blown away? What is blown away? I don't know the answer to that. All right, we're going to continue to go because I have a really good point. I think it's a good point, of course, right, on what his next quote is. But let's just talk about this one for a second. When you look at all those trade charts, it started with Jerry Jones, and now there's multiple trade charts out there that kind of give you relative value for draft picks. And basically what Hortiz is saying here is we're not trading this thing like it's the 5th pick. If you want to give us equal value for the 5th pick, get it out of here. All right? Do I think they probably traded on equal value for the 2nd or 3rd pick? Yeah, because while they say we have the first pick in the draft, we all know they don't. You're not going to trade this away for multiple firsts like people might have hoped for with Caleb Williams and all that kind of stuff with the number 1 overall pick with the Bears. Or like the Panthers, oh my goodness, what were they thinking last year? All right, trading to get Bryce Young with the number 1 pick. But they believe that 5th pick is worth a lot. And I'm telling you right now, if Marvin Harrison falls there, or they probably have Joe Alt in a very similar mindset for them, then they are going to have to get a very good offer because they view at the 5th pick that they can get a cornerstone player with that pick. And they are 100% right. They're 100% right. Because if you look at who's going to be available at number 5, there is a world where this doesn't happen, but you can almost guarantee you are either going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. or you're going to have Joe Alt sitting right there. And both of these guys have played their college career like they are surefire, no doubt, fantastic cornerstone pieces of an offense. They really do look to be that way. And then when you leave off of that, Harrison's in a class of himself, and then I think Joe Alt's probably in a class of himself, and shortly behind that you have Malik Neighbors, who has the ability to be as good or even better than Harrison. There's a world in which that ends up happening, right? And then you have Roma Dunze, who is just going to be good. Like, he's just going to be good. And then you have what is arguably the best tight end prospect that the draft has seen in years, if not ever, in Brock Bowers, just from a pure skill standpoint on what he gives you on the pass-catching side of things. So, if you're going to trade back, let's say with the Vikings, and they want to give you 11 and 23, well, the difference between 5 and 11 is a lot. All right, you can get what is probably a good tackle. Like, it's a deep tackle class. I'm not a big Olu Fashanu guy, but Fuyaga, I think, could be good. Fautino, I think, could be good. But now you're in I think they could be good range. Quinyon Mitchell, he's not a surefire, but I think he's going to be a good corner. Terrion Arnold. But they're not surefires. And then your next pick, you're sitting in here with a bunch more not surefires. So what he's saying, what Hortiz is saying is, with the 5th pick, we are going to have a surefire player. And by the way, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board, if Joe Alt is already off the board, then that means that either Jaden Daniels or Drake May are still sitting there. And that's when you're going to get your big offer for a team to move ahead of the Giants and do that trade. That's when you're going to get that big offer. Somebody from Denver trying to come up from 12, right? That's when you're going to get the big offer. Las Vegas, Minnesota, you're 11, 12, 13. Which one of those teams is going to give you your biggest offer? And what does it look like? And it better include a first rounder either this year and multiple picks, or a first rounder this year and a first rounder next year. Because here's the thing about the Chargers, and here's another thing that Hortiz was saying, and I want to talk about this. He said, like I said, we want to add depth. If you look on it based on need, you're never just one player away, ever. I've learned that from my predecessors, all right, Ozzie Newsome and Eric DaCosta, and I believe that. When you get a chance to add a great player, you add them. That's how we are going to approach it. And by the way, the Chargers have plenty of picks to add depth. This is a team that has talent now. They have what every team wants, which is a major cornerstone quarterback. And you can build a team in one of two ways. Either you get a rookie quarterback, you have a rookie quarterback with a ready-made roster, or a quarterback in his rookie contract in a ready-made roster, or you have a quarterback who is a proven good quarterback, and then you put around him a younger roster because of all the draft picks and sprinkling veterans. They can do that. They can do that almost year one. But next year, it's going to be scary how good they can be. A lot of picks, a lot of talent. Can't wait. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.